Hello, welcome and welcome back. This is Jacob, and today we are gonna be finally finishing the narration for the Stultifera Navis side story in Arknights. I say finish, but I also mean continue. Yes, there is more. But yes, we are gonna be finishing off the main portion of the story, and then we're gonna proceed into, well, let's just call it a peek into the past. Because yes, the EX stages have a boatload of story on them for some reason. Oh boy. But yeah, anyway, like I said, we're gonna be finishing the main portion and then going into the EX story section of the narration, and it's pretty much just plain text, so I'm probably gonna be able to go over it quickly, but just gonna show you. And in other stuff, slight apology because I wanted to post this yesterday, aka Sunday. Today is Monday where I'm recording this. Couldn't get around to it because once I finished the main portion of the story, I found this little button that suddenly put me into the EX section, and I didn't actually notice at first that's the EX section until I hit one of the stages and was like, oh, wait, they have story, uh-oh. So yeah, a good portion of the day was, instead of actually doing recordings, spent blitzing as fast as possible through every EX stage and unlocking and noting down all of the little gizmos that were popping up there. That was a day yesterday, let me tell you that. But let me also say quickly, Salty, thank you for the clarification, because I wasn't really sure how Carmen's full name is supposed to being pronounced, because the letter I and the Roman numeral I, if you don't actually use a Roman numeral but just the capital letter I, yeah, especially if it's in the middle of the name, you know, it's kind of confusing. If it would have been at the end of the name, I would have kind of had an easier time to figure out that yes, that's a number and not the letter I, and also considering he is the first, so yeah, all I can say to that is please, to whoever is writing stories out there and text like that, please, for the love of everything holy and unholy in this world, use actual Roman lettering. Then, you know, the actual Roman numeral one has these little vertical lines on top, small vertical lines on top and bottom, to signify that that is the number one. Please, that makes things easier. But also, thinking back on the name, it's kind of weird to say it. I don't know if it sounds better when you say it in the letter as in first, Iberia, if you say it in Spanish, because in Spanish it kind of sounds better, at least in my head, because when I say Carmen first Iberia, it sounds weird. At least it sounds weird to me. But yeah, considering that names that have numbers in them that are like hereditary names or stuff like that usually have the number at the end, as in the third, the second, the fifth, the fourth, whatever the hell. You get the drift. But having it in the middle sounds weird, so I was trying to see how do you say first in Spanish, because I couldn't remember. And kind of sounds better, so I don't know. How does Carmen Primero Iberia sound to you guys? Does that sound better than Carmen first Iberia? I don't know. But considering that, yes, this region is based on the Spanish language, it would make sense, right? To be Carmen Primero. Does bring an extra flair to it, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, anyway, thank you again for correcting that and for pointing that out. Sadly, he does never use that name again. So I cannot put it into outside of this intro right now. But anyway, let's do the usual bit of the recap of the previous part, which is gonna be fast considering we only had 3 scenes in total. But for you guys who want to skip to the story, just hit the timestamp in the comment section. But yeah, let's begin with, on the previous part, we pretty much continue to following the story on the two fronts. Well, three fronts technically. We follow Gran Faro's story as it turns out that Tiago is not the titular asshole as it pretty much seemed there at the end of the previous part. He was actually luring the church members out so that, well, they can be taken out, and that his beloved city can finally be cleansed, even if he has to shake hands with the foreigners and with the Inquisition itself to accomplish that. And yeah, monster pops up, shit goes down, and as him and Elysium flee, the previous captor of Elysium, one of the church's operators there, manages to deadly injure Tiago, and he slowly is passing away. The High Inquisitor Carmen comes along. They have a little chat. Tiago voices his dissatisfaction with the Inquisition directly to him, and asks him one important question, or rather, technically two questions. He asks if all of the Iberians that they took years ago when they were doing their Inquisition thing in Gran Faro were actually bad guys or not. And as Carmen didn't want to give a civilian an answer, he does then change his question to ask about his lover, the Iberian woman he was with, if she maybe was one of the bad guys. Once again, Carmen does not offer him any solace to that, and Tiago passes away without the knowledge about anything. Quite sad, but also might have been, I don't know, might have been better for him, because as Elysium then keeps asking, as he is also an Iberian, Carmen does answer this time, and he tells him that about half the people that they took captive during that period from Gran Faro were actually members of the Church of the Deep, and then Tiago's lover was an actual leader, bishop, whatever. So yeah, might have been better for him not knowing. But yeah, anyway, as that concludes, Carmen and kal'tsit finally set off towards the lighthouse. Meanwhile, on the ship, the Stultifera, the hunt for that little dingus of a seaborn is in full swing. Spectre and Alfonso actually join hands in pursuing the little runt, and all hell is breaking loose across the entire ship. As the little seaborn is escaping, he does run into Irene along the way, as he's being very well pursued as well by Garcia, the first mate. And in one moment, Irene flashes back to some words her mentor Dario said to her. She grips her hand cannon full of resolve and finally, for the first time, properly fires the gun, and inflicts a couple of very profound wounds onto the little runt, as the Seaborn keeps on running away. Alfonso is in full pursuit together with Spectre, runs into Garcia along the way as well, and Irene sees that Garcia is injured and suggests that they should stay there and regenerate first before they continue. We do get a little moment where Garcia, when falling into like a meditative sleep to heal up, does have a dream of the past. A dream back in Gran Faro, where they and Alfonso are looking out towards, I think, the sea, the beach, and are talking about children. While it is a nice little moment, probably the most notable thing, and that stood out, at least to me, I hope it stood out to a lot of other people, was that Alfonso says a peculiar line at the end, where he mentions a he, suggesting that, is he talking about that they had a child? Did they was, did they have a child or did they adopt a child? Because the first thought that popped into my head when that line popped down was, are they maybe suggesting here that Jordy, aka Lumen, might be their son? Question mark? At least that's what was in my head, unless I misunderstood it. But yeah, the hunt continues. The little Seaborn escapes to the deck of the ship. Amaya stops Spectre in her tracks. And the Seaborn successfully escapes into the ocean to further evolve and regenerate. But also, more importantly, Irene also runs into Amaya, and they have a little chat in which Amaya tells Irene that she felt it on the sea winds that her mentor Dario has passed away, apparently. Irene doesn't buy it, pretty much calling her a liar, but as she says, he is not lying. The Seaborn do not lie. So is she telling the truth or not? We will see about that in today's part. So, oh boy. Let's get into this thing. Starting off at the first cutscene for today, the main mast. Obviously this has, like all of the scenes and stages, has a log entry. We will read that after we are done with the scene completely. It says here, how should one sort out one's thoughts when reuniting with a mortal enemy after a long absence? Share a dance. Do you remember how we first met, Laurentina? Would be useful if I would be clicked into the game, thank you. Badly injured, you lay across the rocks of that snow-like beach as if you were some kind of sleeping beauty. After drifting along the currents for so long, I was finally awoken by some truly rancid land dwellers. How I wish I could have slept forever. How could that be? If I'm remembering properly, we made quite a good first impression on each other, didn't we? That I won't deny, otherwise you wouldn't end up like Quintus, chopped into itty-bitty pieces. Speaking of, what a damn shame. Why couldn't have I felt like this back at Salviento? I could have reminisced with him so much more vigorously. Amaya maintains her elegant posture. The Nethersea brand spreads as far as she can see. But Laurentina does not take her seriously in the slightest. What is she looking at? Your recovery seems to have gone well. Thanks to you. What about the other one? How's he doing? Who knows? Maybe he ended up like Quintus and perished at the hands of a hunter? Which one? It was just idle chatter. Originium arts? True, if there's anything on land that can pose a threat to a hunter, it would probably be those so-called arts. But you don't seem very well versed in fighting with arts either. Aren't you a bit too pathetic? Laurentina, have you never wondered why your consciousness sometimes clears up and sometimes blurs? Or how you can even function after being injected with such a concentrated dose of refined liquid originium? Isn't that because I'm built different? You've also told me about your dance lessons. Ah, damn it. I can't believe you told me before I got to remember it myself. Fine, there were dance lessons. What else did I tell you about, Amaya? Stop changing the subject, Laurentina. Or are you saying you know exactly how you woke up? We've done many experiments on you, my sleeping beauty. For the longest time, we could only understand the ocean through the knowledge of the islanders, and then a perfect organism appeared right in front of us. Our methods were primitive at best. Even if we donned the trappings of the church, we could not hide our blemishes and land-dwelling creatures. Cases of us embracing the sea were few and far between, and the new lifeforms were seldom stable. Do you still remember the huge ruckus you made right after waking up, and the first conversation we had after that? I asked, how did the eager manage to do it? Amaya dodges Spectre's attack. She gently caresses her neck, and the glow of the golden hall seems to bleach her skin a ghostly pale. You hold a massive amount of refined liquid originium right here. If an ordinary person had their spinal fluid replaced with such a concentration of liquid originium, they wouldn't be merely comatose. No two ways about it. I really ought to thank you. After all, you allowed me to experience a completely different life. Do you know how many eagers had their futures forcibly wrenched from them because of the trench-sucking scum you worship? And what would you originally have been then? An opera singer? A playwright? As if. Of course not. I wanted to be a sculptor. Even my teacher said I had the talent for it. When I was little, the city I lived in had a massive Snow White statue. Did it collapse during the Seaborn's invasion? Nah, that'd be too cliché. I've never seen it broken. We moved to a different city before long. But that statue's always remained in my head, and I never forgot what it looked like. And then, thanks to you guys, I finally understand the allegory of that statue, alternating between black and white amidst the shadows. Prayer. If I continued my studies in Aegir, I might have never learned the more nuanced meaning of that word. You can stop stalling for time now. I know your arts are related to perception. I've seen them. Think of it this way. I've met some real weirdos aboard Rhode Island. I might have done some rather unbecoming things, but never mind. I'm sure they'll forgive me. Is that the name of a ship? A much better ship than this one. Anyway, your precious sea terrors are all dead or injured, and your Nethersea brand can't do anything but eat away at this pompous haul. What's next? Need help writing your suicide note? You don't get to see authentic Iberian calligraphy every day, you know. Well then, Laurentina. Amaya extends her hand to Spectre. Her slender palms are covered in the Nethersea brand, as if she is wearing faintly luminescent formal dress gloves. Spectre does not reject her, but grips her weapon tightly with one hand while holding Amaya's in the other. The two of them step delicately across the golden hall. Actually, I wasn't much of a dancer when I was young. The captain taught me a few times, but much later. She is a better dancer than you. You know what keeps your auriphophy in check. You also know why it's easier to wake up from your affliction the closer you are to the sea. The other hunters, particularly Gladia, must have guessed it long ago, but she's always been reluctant to admit the truth to herself. It could not be simpler, yet it is so cruel. Isn't it because I've returned home and am smitten by the scenery? Laurentina, I never realized how much you loved self-deprecating humor. But you're not wrong. Returning home, returning to the sea. It's all because their blood flows within you. The seaborn part of you is holding back the originium. The seaborn part of you is what wakes you up when you return to the ocean. So this awakened you as you are now. Are you seaborn or abyssal hunter? Watch your step. Thank you. You aren't expecting to shake me, are you? Like how Skadi got lectured by that talking scum back in Salviento? Are you not shaken, even though you recognize that your strength, your sanity, and your soul all come from your enemies? No one can remain unperturbed in the face of this truth. I haven't finished my story yet. Do you know why I love sculpting? Because during the process of carving, chiseling, and shaping... Spectre pauses her footsteps. Amaya is caught by surprise for a moment. Spectre releases her hand, as the other is already bearing her weapon down. At that moment, her expression glistens with a childlike glee. We give meaning to the forms of the dead, liberating them from the void of meaninglessness. Just like my lovely destiny. There's no end to this trash. What do we do? How are we going to catch up to it? Where is it going? They retreat to the ocean when hurt. We don't often hunt them on dry land. But the sea terrorists managed to breach the hull? But even the cannons of high-speed battleships shouldn't be enough to damage the Stultifera Navis. They've had years. Must have chipped through it long ago. They trapped the ship but didn't sink it. Why? We can ponder this all we like, but regardless of what miracles it took, we need a plan fast, or this ship is really going to sink. A plan, huh? That I do have. Quickly, take out the enemy, and they should retreat back to their nest. Is it really that easy? If not, then we make it so. If it's heading up, hurry. We can't let it reach the ocean. But the sea terrors are practically clogging the entire corridor. Can you still jump? What? The roof's been corroded by the Nether Sea brand and is very fragile. We'll take a shortcut.
There you are, my quarry.
You prey on blood relatives, prey on kin. You have eaten many.
Well, no shit. You think we can live off the wind?
To consume is without fault. Food is plenty. You will consume me? You are inviting me? Because information from afar cannot pass to kin. Language they do not understand. Vibration of air, utterance of sound, understanding of rules, learning of language.
This is why I hate those niggers. Look, even the monsters are learning Iberian now. Don't think I'll show you any mercy just because you learn how to talk, scumbag.
You consume me, I consume you. Feeding has continued for too long. Must be ended.
How quickly time flies, you little runt. All this time, I've watched you grow up. You think you're the predator? You're nothing more than my domesticated beast. Alphonse's blade digs into the seaborn's body, while its sharp fangs scratch his arm. Blood splatters through the air, and the atmosphere intensifies. The seaborn's movements are becoming faster. You ruined my last change of clothing. I ought to skin you alive.
Over here.
Ishar. Ishar, you will consume.
Shut up. You don't need to blather on to kill your prey. We just do our job. Stop it before it jumps into the sea.
think you can run? The seabird continues to increase its speed, appearing to leave an afterimage of itself in place. It strides and bounds, and in an instant is already to the opposite side of the deck, barely touching the ground. It dives straight into the ocean. But something else is even faster than it. A black shadow cuts off its retreat and smashes into the floor. There, away from the light, something sears a mark into the deck, causing the entire ship to shudder.
My, you're the same type of thing as Quintus, aren't you? If not, half of your body would have been sent flying, not just a little scratch like that. Next up is... Wait, what's this? This scent? You felt it. Of course, he no longer is concealing himself, which means he has proven what he wished to prove. He has said what he wished to say. Alas, I thought he'd be able to understand. Understand what? If the scent belongs to his master rather than something else that's turned into a seaborn, then I'd suggest giving up on him ever understanding. Based on what I've seen of your shallow experiences and moral judgments, your idea of trustworthy eager is usually just whoever stands out most. Well, Pianus has made his move. In that case, I can't waste any more time with her. There is no more point in stalling. I must find the Herald. I must welcome it. Leaving so soon? I thought we were just getting started. Maybe next time, Laurentina. If we ever meet again, let's have another chat about Ager.
Skadi does not blink. She couldn't be more familiar with these movements. Simple, straightforward, a force of nature. She remembers how her colleagues at Rhode Island assessed her, as well as how she assessed the two in front of her, back when she first saw them. However, you were all chosen deemed worthy of Ager. Under my command, you should have been prodigies of exciting violence, your hunting genes complementing your skills. But you're regressed, Skadi.
You're... It's not that yet, Ulpianus. Don't be in such a rush to patronize Skadi.
I'm aware. Take heed, Skadi. Just like before, I'll only teach you once. Ulpianus swings his weapon. The strike is straightforward and without excess. It is sufficiently swift, such that the Seaborn cannot avoid it despite its wishes. Afterwards, an enormous rumbling sound proves that the strike was also sufficiently strong. By the time the Seaborn is miserably thrown against the turret that's never been fired, its body had already been considerably cut down in size. Like so, grasp its movements, make a decision, swing your weapon, aim to kill. This is how you fight them. You are slower than before and more cautious. Your life on land has been no small influence on you.
I never thought... But how did you survive? I thought you died, but you... And Swordfish, how did you two survive? What about the others then? The first company and the fourth company? Did they...
By my standards, my survival was a tragedy. The Seaborn told me that the others could not be allowed to live on. They would not have overlooked anything in their nest. Of course, based on Gladia's usual attitude, by her standards, this was also a disgrace.
Finish it off first. As for your situation, we can wait for all the hunters to arrive.
You, in this dry floating vessel, on this ship hunt, you left our kind. Death does not befit our kind. Your death also does not befit our kind. You...
What kind of hunter talks before his quarry is dead? That's the first lesson we teach in field training. I seem to always be cleaning up after the messes of you Aegers. What is it you want? What do you need with my ship? Look what you did to Iberia and to Victoria, letting monsters overrun Ursus. Stubborn bastard.
Run it through. Now, Alfonso.
Take this!
Is it over? I can't feel my hand. Look out beneath you.
What?
It's not dead yet.
It chipped through the deck, trying to jump onto the chopping block yourself, you sack of meat.
No, not quite. After it, we didn't chase it back into the cabin. There are still more of its skin on the ship. It's looking for her.
Just going around and num-numbing. Harold.
Scaleless skin. Wounds can't be healed. No way to nourish our kind. They all attack. Attack but not hunt.
Amaya simply listens quietly. The wound Spectre left on her slender body continued to bleed, dripping into the pool of blood already shed by the Seaborn and mixing into one. Amaya simply listens quietly.
You also hurt. You consume me. Can you live? Our kind will continue and survive.
The Seaborn bows its body, lowering itself to Amaya's feet. It closes its eyes and awaits death. Amaya continues quietly. Dedication, sacrifice. These sort of unrequited altruisms are respected by humans and considered virtues.
Aeger, I have never seen that country myself. A vast, vast country larger than Iberia, Victoria, or Ursus, or perhaps all three combined. I've heard that the Aeger are rationalists, but how rational can they be compared to the rationality of our kin? Listen to me, Harold. There is nothing noble about sacrifice, and dedication is not necessarily a virtue.
Virtue? Noble?
You do not need to understand what sacrifice or dedication are. Only the mediocre would presume that the Seaborn becoming closer to humanity is any form of evolution. No. This is merely an increased tolerance to allow for more possibilities. When we praise those who selflessly serve their kin, all that means is that so many more have chosen to do otherwise. If even young gloom pincers will die in the jaws of their natural predators to protect their kind, then why do we feel a need to repeatedly extol such a virtue? Humans only sing the praises of what's rare, using morality to whitewash altruism, all in an attempt to justify their utilitarian hearts, deeming themselves more noble than beasts. Such ridiculous self-aggrandizement. It is clear that the cracks between nations and races are tearing this land asunder. Life has never been without order, my herald. This is the final answer I sought, for which I left the land and entered the sea.
The Seaborn closes its eyes. It is contemplating the words of Amaya, the words of its kin. It does not understand, but its kin says that it does not need to understand, only to do. The next moment, it feels its scaleless kin place her hand upon its body. Its kin says, "I ask of you, remember me, set me free, consume me."
Amaya.
No, the scent is still here. It couldn't have gotten far.
It cut through the walls corroded by the nether sea brand and returned to the ocean.
But that's not all. Something happened here. Its blood trail disappeared. You all stay here. I'll go after it myself.
Why would hunters be afraid to return to the ocean? This is a disgrace.
Then stew with a disgrace, Gladia. We need to tread carefully. And I alone will be enough to handle this.
I'll go with you.
To monitor me.
To maintain discipline.
As you please, but surely you can feel it too. More Seaborn are approaching. This place may be clear to shore, closer to shore, but it's already become the heart of the ocean. Rocinante brace.
Soon. The Grand Domain. Very soon. The storm is tearing the sky open. The terrible waves, they come. They will come. We shall watch. We shall wait. We shall meet the terrible waves.
And obviously, like I said, we get a log entry and 2 pictures out of this one. Okay, let me orientate myself. So, log entry goes into hunting down the wounded Seaborn. This is the 8th log entry. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. Yep. Says here, while reminiscing with Spectre, Amaya catches on to Ulpianos' actions. She must make a sacrifice before the hunters and the ship captains can finish off the Seaborn. And we get 2 pictures. One is a dance. Says here, do not disturb the participants, for the ball is upon us, and such opportunities are infrequent. They have not gotten together for a long time, and have much to talk about. And the other one is feed, nurture, and foster. Humans see sacrifice as a noble and eminent act. That is their limitation. So, now we continue on to stage SN-10, aka Ceremonial Plaza. So, we will read the story in completion first, so before stage story, stage, and then after story. And then we'll look at the things we unlock.
The Eye of Iberia. It's been a long time since I last set foot here. Countless soldiers from the Penal Battalion laid down their lives here, and when the Seaborn finally broke through our defense line, countless engineers died in vain inside the lighthouse. Before our last ship was swallowed, we fled. For every 10 men we left home, hardly one returned. But now, behold, light. Carmen's voice trembles for the first time in an eternity. Kal'tsit stares silently out into the center of the distant reef, A massive lighthouse illuminates the entire sky, as bright as the day.
I don't see the ship.
That is a good sign. It proves they found what they were looking for. Let's proceed. As long as this light is not extinguished, we will press forward.
Sea Terror slithers around the main door. Monster. Monster is screeching also happily. Clear the way. We're going in.
The heat of fire. The Sea Terrors gather around the main door, wandering, spinning. Carmen's eyes sweep into the distance. They follow a line of the charred corpses of these abominations. The entire way their remains vanish within the wind. The Sea Terrors do not feel fear.
But they do know how to seek advantage and avoid disadvantage. Their base instincts have taught them to hunt cautiously.
They have been taught fear. These creatures may not know what a country is, let alone laws and morals. But they have learned to fear the High Inquisitor. They have learned to fear everything we have built on top of civilization. Dario.
Kal'tsit does not say anything. She can see a strange ring on a patch of fluorescent ground. Charred corpses are stacked high into a mountain. The deaths of tens of thousands of their kin had imprinted a new behavior upon the Sea Terrors. Do not approach the lighthouse. A feeble flame still flickers. It was originally a great bonfire. Before the Sea Terrors had perished into a tide of death, there was nothing flammable here at all. At the heart of the flame stands a single man. He lifts his lantern and leans on his sword, just as he did when he learned to stand guard in his youth. Motionless.
You've done well, Dario. Be at peace now.
The lantern in Dario's hand seems to echo Carmen's farewell. In an instant, the fire swallows even more Sea Terrors before the raging flame then wraps around the silent High Inquisitor. His already clouded eyes are still gazing far into the distance. Carmen remains silent for a long time before Dario's statue-like body. Kal'tsit does not interrupt Carmen's mourning. She only takes in the scene with her eyes. There aren't many signs of the hunter's activity here. The High Inquisitor remained here alone, staving off the surging tides of Sea Terrors until his life was spent. But even if the soldier's life force had bled dry long ago, the Sea Terrors still feared him. Because his flames had not extinguished, because his light had not dimmed. The Inquisitor had turned himself into a force of nature, a pledge to defend the sanctity of the Eye of Iberia, even beyond death. After a long time, Carmen lifts his head. Only then does Kal'tsit see the signs of age in the old man in front of her. Though the Inquisition had used various methods to prolong his life, in this moment, he could no longer hide the fatigue in his eyes. He turns his head and looks towards Kal'tsit, then back to Dario, who was gradually disappearing into the flame.
He was my finest student, Kal'tsit.
We have 3 minutes to mourn the deaths of this soldier. Once the flames go out, nothing will stand between the Sea Terrors and their nest. They will swarm this place. Also, I didn't see the girl. At least, his disciple survived.
Are there no higher level seaborn here?
Doesn't seem so, for the time being.
Their numbers are nothing to be feared then.
For the time being. We ought to find a more permanent solution. The Eye of Iberia was built by Breogan. It has the potential to become the hub for establishing a link with Aegir.
Assuming they were able to find the ship. Wait, hold on. Who reactivated the Eye of Iberia? Neither the Aegir nor Dario should have had any experience with this.
Look up there. Finally. The control panel is fine. I'm totally worn out.
Monster hums curiously.
What? You're... I must admit, you surpassed my expectations. You managed to relight the Eye of Iberia by yourself, restoring at least 30% of its functionality. You did this alone, under these conditions. You're the one Mr. Elysium mentioned. What about Mr. Inquisitor? He's been fighting for his life down there this entire time, and I didn't dare get close to him since I wouldn't be able to help anyway. So all I could do was keep an eye on the control panel here.
He made the ultimate sacrifice.
What?
But by no means was it in vain. He sacrificed himself for his faith, and as such will now live on forever. He died heroically as an Inquisitor, as a vindicator of Iberia. His ideal self shall be forever enshrined on the coasts of Iberia. And then there is you, Aegir. You have defended the purpose of his sacrifice. You have persisted all this time and never given up. You've done well.
I never got to talk to him much, but he... What about Gran Faro? What's going to happen to my town?
I usually don't answer every question from the general public. But for now, I don't intend to lie to you. Gran Faro will soon be under the management of the Penal Battalion. The citizens will also come under their unified control and contribute to the construction of frontline checkpoints. Also, Thiago died at the hands of heretics.
No. How could this happen? Uncle Thiago, is he really...
He had long been aware of the Church of the Deep's cultists, yet turned a blind eye to them. His cover-up thwarted the plans of the Penal Battalion and delayed our ability to send support here. Even if he'd escaped death, he would not have escaped me, child. Jordi collapses limply onto the ground. He feels numb and exhausted. He feels like the single string supporting him through everything that happened, long, worn, thin, had suddenly snapped.
Uncle Thiago, why? Monster, guard the entrance.
Monster obeys cheerfully. Can you confirm where the Stultifera Navis was last seen? Dame kal'tsit?
Not that far, at least. And the last signal came less than 48 hours ago.
What? She's still able to send signals?
Breogan helped the Iberian royal family construct lighthouses and fleets. Why, if not for restoring a connection to his homeland? Be it the Eye of Iberia or some transponder hidden in a corner in the Stultifera Navis, they all use Iberian technology without reservation. Of course, all of this assumes that the Seaborn haven't already destroyed the ship or turned it into their nest.
Carmen's eyes silently follow the direction of the light extending towards the horizon. The Stultifera Navis cannot be seen by the naked eye. The ocean is too expansive, and what's not too far for a ship is still a cruel joke to those on land. The very saint once again shows his age. His lips quiver, as if innumerable thoughts are crossing through his mind. Alfonso, Garcia, Turi, Julia. Are you still out there?
Meanwhile, back on the ship, my captain and Gladia pursued it into the sea. We should go help them. No, we'd be better off waiting here. The waters are restless and the seaborne scents swirl together. There's probably more than just one. Did you hear something, Scotty? What? No, I didn't. I see.
What have you done to this place? You, Eggers, how'd you get in here? I was the only one with the key, and when the old deadbeat kicked the bucket, I threw it into the ocean. It's been 50 years already.
If this is the power source for the vessel, wouldn't locking it up mean giving up hope?
The old deadbeat was the last engineer we had. When he died, we had nobody left who could fix this ship. To make matters worse, we were already tangled up in the seaborne and couldn't get away. Didn't need anyone rocking the boat on my watch. But answer me, how'd you find this place?
Breogan, the captain followed the clues he left, which led to Iberia, then here.
You people, you know the ship, right?
Nope, not at all. I've always been more into the arts anyway. But it really shouldn't come as a surprise. To return to Aegir, we must follow the trail of the Aegir. What's this?
You've even gotten your hands dirty digging up some of Breogan's personal belongings. Hasn't Aegir ever heard of respecting people's privacy?
What does it say? Breogan's experiences on land. A travel log, I guess? Is this what the captain's been looking for? No clue. Why don't you ask her yourself?
Just a small part of it? Returning empty-handed, eh?
It disappeared. Furthermore, the reason we didn't chase any further is because there were signs of other seaborne nearby. They came here following distant scents and the calls of their kin. Now I don't mind skipping straight to the slaughter, but we should resolve the problem of the ship first.
You dare treat my Iberia as a prize to be taken?
The ship is the only way for us to return to Aegir, and only it can contact our cities. As for the issue of repairs, perhaps I might be more qualified than a handful of backwards Iberians who know little of Breogan's technology. I can't pass up this opportunity even if we must resort to force.
2 against 4, eh?
3 against 3.
Captain?
Not so fast, Gladia. Don't forget what I said.
You even gave me a reason to give up on returning to Aegir.
I'm telling you, you don't know what it's like there now. The Seaborn have never taken the initiative to attack our cities unless their nests and living spaces were threatened. Each act of slaughter, each act of destruction has been fueled by the Aegir's degeneracy. They thought we were dead. They lost contact with us. The blood of the Seaborn flow within us. In all our long years of battling against these enemies, we finally have a prime opportunity.
And you think these few acts of degeneracy have nothing to do with the scum we fight? Even if left alone, the Seaborn's living spaces will grow like a tumor until the entire ocean is devoured.
This and that are 2 separate issues, neither of which can be solved by heading home, rejoining the army, and marching forth once more. Why don't we try thinking outside the box this time?
So you've chosen to listen to those lovely beasts, to walk with them, to understand them.
They call us their kin, but what do we know about them? Far too little.
I can hardly even understand what I've seen myself. Until we've obtained definite answers about their gods, everything we do is uselessly groping around in the dark. What are you talking about, Captain? You and the seaboard, how do we know you're still on our side? Why do you have to... Every hunter who thought they could get something out of the seaboard has ended up disappearing. Of course, you shouldn't understand that better than me. Their whispers resonate. They will invade your mind. Those are not your thoughts.
Scotty, that's also a separate issue. I'll let Gladia give you the specifics. Ship captain, escort them away.
I was just thinking the same thing, Jaeger.
What a pity.
Stillness, silence. Hunters long separated always seem to have the least pleasant of reunions. Something squirms in the heart of Skadi and Spectre. The chief mate hesitates, its wound still aching. Swords are drawn, bowstrings stretched out. Quiet. Too quiet. Wait, how is this possible? The rushing of the waves, the howling of the wind, the creaking sounds of the hull being torn open by Seaborn. They all become distant.
Hunters, the ship is sailing.
Nonsense, old Iberian. Just how many years do you think?
No, I swear it's true. Something's pushing the ship, and it might have been pushing the ship the whole time we were chasing after the Seaborn. And from the very beginning, our surroundings have been unusually quiet.
Gather. Take this cell and go far away. Follow. We will follow. We will find the end of the storm.
Rocinante shakes head meekly.
The waves are fading. Silence is coming.
I don't hear anything at all. After so many years of the waves washing against us, why? Everything is just like that day. The chief mate is cowering in pain and suffering. Garcia, my hand, it's shaking. Damn it, if I didn't need it to hunt, I would have lopped this thing off a long time ago. What's the meaning of this, Jaeger? Gladia does not answer. She imperceptibly reaches for her neck. The scales, the part of her that do not belong to her, are resonating with something. The scent of the Seaborn, the smell of the ocean, it's all gone. Look outside, it's way too peaceful. How could this be? What's going on? Why is it so quiet? Wait. Do you hear that? What was that? Was there something?
The ocean sank into an unprecedented silence. Anomalies appeared across the shore as violently ebbing tides and irregular waves heralded the coming of disaster. All sounds were smothered, from waves crashing against the shore to the chiming of city clock towers. All noise faded away.
Until the voices of the people all disappeared as well. Until the wind was stilled. The profound silence came without a sound.
Impossible. It's just like in the Inquisition's records. Are we facing another silence?
Shark, where are you going?
Heading up to check things out.
I'll go with you.
Me too.
No, Scotty.
You and Gladia stay here. Scotty,
Why?
stay with Gladia and remember this one thing. You will always be our hunter. Laurentina, let's go. Spectre lifts her head towards the sky. The dark clouds, not known not to not the dark clouds, known not when to dissipate, but she, who has lost the concept of time, finds a sea of stars in the sky. She can finally hear that voice, the voice that calls out to her. Spectre paces around the deck, and Olpianos casts her a concerned glance for just a moment.
You and the captain have a keen sense of smell. Can you sense any seaborn around us?
No, not right now. There is little difference between here and the land. Even though we're clearly floating out at sea, it's disconcerting. I'll head over there. I'll head the other way to see if we're really being pushed by a current.
See you soon. Oh, starry sky. This is the first time in many years I've seen the stars so clearly. I had forgotten so many things. I forgot my home was used by others, and what finally saved my life and awakened my memories was the part of me I hated most. Accepting that I'm a freak actually wasn't as hard as it sounds. That's what makes me unique. The one final thing I'm unable to let go of is my home. But have I really returned? Is this place on the sea surface really eager? Is this still my home? Just because Gladia never said it doesn't mean I would realize. It wouldn't be the first time rifts have grown between hunters, but between us and Eager. We've been separated by the shore for too long. I remember something else. When I was little, I once went with my parents and grandparents to watch the stars on the ocean's surface adorn the sky. On a day much like this, even the most beautiful pearl geode couldn't compare to that splendor. In retrospect, even after I became a hunter, I was always leaving my home again and again, but never reaching anywhere else. I suppose I'm getting a bit homesick. Where are you going to take me this time, Amaya?
Under the magnificent starry sky, the creature quietly looks down on Spectre. It makes not a single sound. The ship splitting the waves, the wind's bluster, all sounds are drowned out by his soft murmurs. He hovers in the air as if walking on water, gently kissing the light of the stars and moons, his tentacles coruscating in a beautiful array.
Nowhere, Laurentina. The ocean is boundless, and wherever we go is all the same. I've always been able to hear your song, Amaya. Laurentina, that is the name of our scaleless kin, the Liberi, the Iberian. As I consumed her, she kept stroking my head. She spoke to me of many things. Time itself was like frozen dust, and eternity seeming to pass as I listened to her. Until she could no longer speak, until even her bones were digested by our smallest skin, she nurtured me with both nutrition and time. She taught me everything I know. Since when were you so sentimental towards your food? Such was her request. I merely granted it. If there is purpose to such emotions, we are willing to experiment. What of Isharmla, Gladia, and Ulpianus? Are your kin ready to return to the Great Sea? We've had a bit of an internal disagreement. Why, your home is clearly right before your eyes. We many are clearly right here awaiting you. You're homesick, Laurentina. Amaya told me that, of all the Aegir she ever made contact with, you harbor the greatest affection for Aegir itself. Come, embrace me, and I will bring you back home. You know, I've never touched a living seaborn before. I prefer your kind. Dead. Just as you prefer to give shape to inorganic matter, even though it offers nothing for your survival. Do you have any other pursuits other than survival? Pursuits like your pursuit to return home. The survival of our kind, the survival of more of us, the survival of we many. All beings ought to form a single entity. Life should not be so disorderly.
The Seaborn descends onto the deck. Spectre laughs.
You're a graceful one. Did Amaya teach you that as well? It was just her request. A memento. I suppose that means you'll be paying back both of our debts? Before her death, Amaya entrusted you to me. I will make use of your life. I will also fulfill your requests. Amaya thanks you. She said I should help you. Because of you, their work was able to take another step forward. Their research and ideals have all advanced greatly. I can talk to you about Isharmla. I can take you back to Aegir. I can share with you where our kind are and how they are doing. I can name your clansmen who are trying to become one with us. Amaya begged me to help you. Only through helping you will you accept us as kin. In that case, my first request is... Stop singing. I want to hear the wind of my hometown. Very well.
In an instant, the wind and the waves return to Spectre's ears. Just as the sound of the first wave splashing against the deck rings out clearly, Ulpianus' giant blade is already poised above the Seaborn's head.
Die. What? It managed to block?
Ulpianus, a sufficiently heavy blow. Our kin in the ocean will welcome his unconscious form. They will take him back to our nest, where we will spend time becoming one with him. As for this floating box, it has been used to house our kin who have not yet adapted to the sea. But most of them died, and the rest have refused to become one with us. Therefore, it is no longer needed.
Spectre is unable to see the Seaborn's movements, but like a piece of garbage being swept aside by a pedestrian, the once glorious cannon mounted on the ship vanishes in the blink of an eye. A few seconds later, an enormous splash in the distance reveals where the steel construct had gone.
How did it manage to slice up that cannon? With its tail? Shit!
Spectre's eyes are unable to follow, whether shaken by the ease with which Ulpianus was repelled or distracted by the sound of the metal cannon being sliced through. Spectre is easily struck and sent crashing into the deck. She was unable to see the attack at all.
Come, let us return to the sea. Whether to hunt or to communicate or to evolve, we must all return to the sea. Halt!
You're trying to take apart my ship, you monster! Garcia! The chief made charges at the Seaborn, but before even laying a finger on that elegant being, the chief mate's movement suddenly freeze. Kin. This is kin. I am attacking my own kind.
What a paradoxical being. You have consumed many of our kin, yet many more go hungry. You ought to feed them, turn into nutrients and nourish our kind.
Garcia! What are you doing to my chief mate? God damn it. Don't worry, I'm alright.
Fonzo.
What is it? Wait, hold on. What? Garcia, you...
Fonzo. Today is the last day of our voyage. All these years I always treated myself as a monster. Easier that way. I know if I die you'll be lonely, and then you'll die. You shouldn't die, so I'm worthless. Today is the last day of our voyage. I think I already feel kinship towards it.
No. Garcia, you can still talk. You're still yourself.
No. Time is up. The Stultifera will sink soon. The fluorescent sea has already started to corrode the ship. I will fight to the death as an Iberian. I will never accept it as my kin.
The Seaborn has already bent down. It looks hardly any different from the greatest chief mate Iberia has ever known. Garcia nudges the shining crown sitting atop its head. The chief mate speaking in Iberian.
My beloved, remember your duty.
You are not fighting me, Garcia. You are fighting we many inside your heart. You are on the ship, but you thirst for the sea. But it doesn't matter. Become sustenance and nourish our kin, or become one with us.
The chief mate's body is punctured, blood gushing out like a spring. The Seaborn tosses Garcia overboard into the ocean, like chucking out bait. It gazes from above, noble and impassive, like an inviolable icon.
What just happened? How could it so easily? Human, kin, and all living things in between. Amaya wishes to correct you, and thus it shall be done. I simply welcome back my kin, and welcome back Ishar Ma. Protect the lives of our kin, then return to we many. Return home. Shark?
Gladia effortlessly steps forward, casting off the gentle beckoning from behind. In the space of a moment, Skadi, who had been standing behind her, and Spectre, once again returning to battle, react in sync and brandish their weapons at the Seaborn. As the fastest of the group, Gladia would improve the synergy between the three if she slowed down a bit, but she had already lost the capacity to stay calm. It dodges once more accurately. It simply takes a step forward, but its speed is sufficient. It has its eyes only on Skadi.
There are many among us who wish to see you, Isharmla. Isharmla. Our kind awaits you. We await you. We hope you will answer our call. Filth, if there's no end to your is there no end to your arrogance?
Gladia whirls and lands at the Seaborn, but it does not evade. It is run through, its body easily lifted and smashed down into a deep pit. No good. What's happened to your body? Soon my kin, many kin in need, will reach my heights. We are changing every day. Gladia, we are one whole. You are of the strongest batch. Where's my captain? Tossed into the sea. He was injured pretty badly. Even their gods were unable to devour Opianus. He won't die so easily. Its body seems to have undergone some changes. It's nothing like the trash we encountered in Salviento. Swordfish, treating an enemy with caution rather than contempt. Maybe I'm still missing some memories, but does that even happen, Skadi? No, you're right, it is rare, but seaborn like this were also rare. What kind of prey stands before 3 hunters and remains unscathed? To be fair, I've barely done anything yet. The ship won't hold out if we keep fighting like this, though. It's grown much stronger.
Just the last few blows have already set the lower decks on fire. How dare you treat Garcia and my ship like this? I'll make you regret this monster.
Please, my kin, even more of our kin call out to me, asking me to maintain this ocean's growth and tranquility. If you get in my way, I have no choice but to consume you. I beg of you, return to our kind. Hey, Amaya? If you insist on calling me that. Sure do. Anyway, I just remembered something which really shouldn't be written in those scriptures. What? She still owes me her life and you're going to pay it back. Adept, if you are willing to return to our kind, I will grant you that. No, can do.
The Seaborn does not answer. It silently leans forward, baring its claws. In an instant, the damage to the ship's hull, the damage to the ship's hull passes a critical threshold, and everything in sight shakes violently.
Minutes. Yes, your kind's conception of time. Amaya spoke of this before. 10 minutes. In 10 minutes this box will be surrounded by our kin. It will sink.
Hunt and consume. Survive and evolve. It has never hesitated.
Alright, and as before, we're gonna be including the battle stage into this narration. And oh boy, this is one. This is, I guess, one. Anyway, let's begin, I guess. The other thing I'm happy about this battle stage, because I was trying to rush it and just figure shit out so it works out faster, is that I managed to incorporate the 4 Abyssal Hunters into it. So that's the thing I'm mostly happy about. But yeah, like for what was it again, stage 7, we are dealing with the little guy again. Pretty much just kill him. The way I did it, I kill him here and keep blocking with Spectre at least. Then the top very lane with the 2 gates and 1 blue gate is where the marked enemies are appearing that he is devouring and getting buffs from. So you pretty much want to have either something that can solo this entire row, or you want to have someone from the bottom row hit top, or even a ranged unit would do. And the other thing is kill one of these guys that was here, just right here in the top bottom right, because they spread the brand, and you want to keep it clear on this side, because that is a big ouch if it stays there. The rest is a grill party. But our dear little friendo here is not just in his previous form anymore. We will be fighting this bad boy in a couple of forms. Error of risk. Why? Everything is still going the same way. Anyway. Pretty much the only other danger of this map is out of this gate. He died just now, but out of this gate one of the dodgy little assholes appears, so you do need to either resummon someone up there or somehow else deal with the asshole. But yeah, the boss comes back, dies very quick. And we are gonna proceed into another phase for the boss. Another group of enemies spawn on the top. We have two of the creepies, which do need to be dealt with. And now we will get the boss to reappear again in its final form. And the boss is gonna disappear very quickly. And that's pretty much it. The rest of the main enemies are just these guys, and they are not that difficult to deal with outside of their dodginess. And that is it. Really crazy pants? Had to be you. Alright then. Couldn't be the other crazy pants. We had so many. Anyway, let's finish off this portion with the after story, and then we're gonna go over the log entries and such.
This isn't possible. If true, then this whole time the Abyssal Hunters have been looking for something right under their noses.
What that possibility signifies is too vile to put into words. From beginning to end, the Eye of Iberia has always borne witness to the aftermath of calamity, but if it is just a sinking eyeball, unable to speak.
What does this mean?
It means Aeger's demise is accelerating. It means that if even cities at this distance are sending out distress signals, then the Stultifera Navis has been circling above their nests since the very beginning. The hunters are also in danger.
I know what you're thinking, but we have only one ship and the two of us. Saving the Stultifera was not realistic.
You may not mind a few abyssal hunters dying at sea, but what we would be strangling. But what we would be strangling in its cradle is opportunity for both Aeger and Iberia. Dario died a warrior's death. Wouldn't you want to gain some valuable knowledge from the mouth of the surviving Inquisitor? This is our last chance.
No. A powerless city almost reduced to ruins. How many Aeger have already fallen to the ocean? We must act cautiously, or we will be leaping into flames.
Even so, this is our last chance. If we wait until Aeger can no longer respond, until another silence has fallen over Iberia, then indeed the true enemy will appear. But at that point, would it matter? I understand you have your responsibilities. You don't want to take this risk until the Penal Battalion has full control over this place. So I'll go alone.
I know better than to underestimate the power of you and your pet, but it's a long trip. Are you sure you'll be You'll make it on your own.
The hunters bleed a special kind of blood. The sea terrors aren't necessarily that hostile towards ordinary ships.
I can only hope you didn't make that up to assuage my fears.
That's not a lie. I would have come up with anyway. Regardless, I can't leave the hunters behind.
You'd better bring back the hunters and Irene, kal'tsit.
I will. Is there anything I can do to help? Monster, survey our surroundings. If those sea terrors went back into hiding underwater, don't rile them up. We need time since the ship's taken some damage from the trip.
Monster answers with a nod.
This ship, the one that hunters took, was left by the Inquisition spies. Lord Carmen's original plan was to join up with the Penal Battalion in Gran Faro, establish a frontline headquarters, and push forward on a medium-sized naval vessel. So this lone boat abandoned on the shore of Gran Faro is our final hope. I can help. I'll go take a look at the boat. I've never actually repaired a ship before, but I do have some tools with me. Can you really head out to the sea on something like this? If you don't think so, then probably not. Wait. Out of the way, Geordie. What, huh? Sea terrors? What? They were hiding in the shadows of the reef. Monster.
Monster screeches excitedly.
Geordie, get off the boat. I can't. Something's pushing on it. The anchor's gone. I'll try to steer it back. Jump off. The sea terrors are swarming around it. Monster, go rescue him. Wait. Then we'd lose the boat then. I'll try to steer it back. Watch out behind you. Save Geordie first.
Monster cheers in response.
Whirlpools, changing currents, and the sea terrors are unusually active again. What's going on here?
Monster stretches out its claws.
You want me to grab on and fly back with you, but then what? Then the boat will. Whoa!
Monster is screeching urgently. Geordie knows that if he doesn't take this opportunity, then he'll drift into the endless ocean along with the ship. There is no other choice. He has to return to the Eye of Iberia and hide inside the lighthouse. Just like he did in that little town for over a decade. Just like he did when Dario died. Just like with Tiago. He clings to the mast to avoid falling into the aberrant waves. Monster is visibly dissatisfied, urging him on. Sea terrors leap from the water's surface from time to time, darting back and forth rapidly, and kicking up plumes of water. The Eye of Iberia is already becoming smaller and smaller. He sees words carved crookedly into the boat's mast. Gran Faro. I will go in kal'tsit's place. All I have to do is find that ship and bring everyone back, right? That doesn't sound too hard. No. Compared to losing this ship and waiting helplessly under the lighthouse, it's a gamble I have to take. I can do this on my own. As long as one of our kin touches upon the ultimate answer to life, we will be able to reweave the laws of the cosmos from beginning to end. Before we are given our next revelation, we shall find a way. Even if Ishar Mla refuses to answer, even if our kind will never know the divine will, we will still survive. Shark? Of course. Our kin have conveyed their will. Nutrients are sufficient.
No longer must we feed on each other. I should return to the nest. You should come with me. Running away so soon? It barely took any damage, but the ship's in tatters. You're still going on about that stuff, Amaya? Why don't you just and let me kill? Why don't you just put and let me kill you like a good girl? Our kind calls me back. They call for me to share my fruits with them. I shall heed their call. When that is done, I shall heed your call. I shall seek you out and you shall kill me. Of course I can't let you leave. If I let you go, how many Seaborn just like you are going to end up all over the place? Amaya sure knows how to make things hard for me. If only she was as simple as and straightforward as Quintus. What a shame I couldn't keep her around with that dance. You talk too much, scum. Isharmla, I've always wanted to meet you. What happened? Why doesn't he speak anymore? Where is he? It's like hacking at water, no resistance at all. Are you him? Is he you? I have no idea what you're talking about. If you mean that big guy, he's already dead. Deaf, withering, he exists beyond these concepts. His voice by no means signifies the end of life. What do your kind call him? The same as those cultists, your god has already withered and fallen into the abyss. God? No, this is what we call him. Isharmla, I'm here. The hardship we suffer is ever present. The life we thirst for is ever present. Isharmla, once more I feel his pulse. Kin, you swam together to his abode in the abyss, where even death drowns. We have lost contact with him, but his choices can only lead to the future. Kin, your information, name the flow of your emotions. You feel it, Isharmla, because you have left the arid land and returned home. Our blood flows in your veins. His blood flows in your veins. You are him. No. I am Abyssal Hunter Skadi. No matter, as you are, thus you are, Abyssal Hunter Skadi. Isharmla, we await his answer. Be it on the other end of time, he will answer us. Until then, until our answer finally comes, we many shall live on. Gladia silently appears behind the Seaborn, the lance in her hand actually puncturing the creature's body. It is followed immediately by the cacophony of a whirling chainsaw. Too slow, you're becoming weak, so just accept getting turned into paste. Too shallow, it's not good enough. The heat of the sweltering flame sweeps down the long corridor. The Stultifera is groaning. The Seaborn does not attack the vulnerable Skadi. It simply stares at her in silence, a very strange sensation, just like at Salviento. It is watching her, Skadi thinks. The ship is at its limit. It'll start sinking very soon. It's trying to get away. Below you. Don't move, monster. I won't allow you to return to the sea. You are pitifully weak, human. Even as nutrition, you are not enough to nourish our kin. Now that nutrients are plentiful, we require only time. This place is far from your territory. You have no reason to interfere with us.
You and your kind cannot be judged by the law. I don't think I have any means of eradicating you for Iberia either.
Law, burdensome rules of survival, as Amaya once said. Compared to our kin, you are indeed too weak.
But I will not let you escape, ocean scum. This is the last shot. And sure enough, I can't even leave a scar on you.
Emotional. How strange, human. You are so weak, driven by emotions, trying to escape my hunger. Escape, yes. Escape. Fear? But why do you still stand here then? Why do you attack me? Why do you not flee from me? Do you also wish to make a contribution to we many?
Who gave you the right to interrogate me?
The seaborn no longer speaks. The creature before it is not kin. Predation does not require the tool called language. But before it can strike, a shadow drops down from the darkness of the ceiling.
Alfonso?
Haven't seen the color of its blasted blood since it became like this. This hunt is almost over. You killed my chief mate, and you will pay. You both paradoxical beings, you still refuse to become our kin. You have eaten many of us, yet you refuse to become part of us. Make your choice, not much time remains. Hunt, acquire nutrients, return to we many. Or seize your bodily movements, give up the gift of life, and pass it on to our other kin. Choose. Irene.
Yes, why are you calling my name though?
Tell me, do you have a way to return to land?
But I must go back. I can't stand against the Seaborn, but Iberia can. I'll carry this final warning with me. What happened to all of you? What Gladia saw? I must bring all of it back.
You're starting to sound like a messenger.
That's fine. I can be whatever I want.
Character progression! Anyway.
But I must go back.
My ship is about to sink. 60 years. It's been over 60 years. But because of what? But because of your arrival, we must now face the end. Tell me, how does Iberia remember the great Captain Alfonso?
Alfonso under the pomegranate tree. The hero Alfonso. The sunken Alfonso. There were many people who held on to hope that the Stultifera never sank, but we weren't able to head out to sea. If you really are Lord Alfonso, you have become a paragon of countless Iberian soldiers.
Pomegranate tree, huh? How pretentious. A flash of intense passion shimmers across the captain's eyes. Since the dark clouds and turbulent waves trapped them inside this cage, few things have ever stirred his heart. He's gotten weaker. I'll hold him back.
Explosions?
I thought the Originian boilers got knocked out of commission a long time ago, but the impact just now seems to have ignited the engine. The flames will spread upward. I've always wondered how these things taste flame-grilled. The heat makes the seaboard uncomfortable. It has become weak. Its skin are encircling it. It is unable to reach the sea. It screams, but its calls are not answered. No, kin are coming. Closer. It can hear the voices of its kin. They speak.
Die?
Gladia does not hesitate. Skadi and Spectre sever its body. It tries to regenerate, it tries to break free, but this time Alfonso clings to its body in a death grip. He makes use of his already mutated arm. It feels its life force slipping away. It sees Spectre raise her weapon again.
Goodbye, Amaya. Let's ride off the depth this time.
What? You want to talk to her again? What can that filth possibly say that's worth hearing?
You don't understand, Quintus. She told me about her life in Ager.
So what? If you want knowledge, a herald can tell you far more. All we need to do is summon the voice of the deeps, and you will be able to obtain anything you want.
That's why I said you don't understand, Quintus. What I want to deconstruct, to witness, to caress, to break, has never been those cities. On land or in water, it's all the same. I want to hear about their lives, about the wonderful lives they once had, about how they built their society, about how they defended their home, about how they cannibalized each other, about how they met their destruction, just like us.
Like us?
The people who defile Ager are Agers like you. The people who defile Iberia are Iberians like me. The results of the experiment are already plain as day. If we still need more comparisons, she'll go mad and hate us. She'll hate us, and to be honest, I hate them too. Self-destructive soldiers, a self-righteous country, falling into a self-inflicted trap. But sometimes you have to admit that we're more like them, more like humans than we are like Seaborn. We'll probably be fighting forever. It worked. Hey, Captain Alfonso, are you alright?
Compared to my ship, not half bad.
Are you really dead, Amaya? It can't be that easy, can it?
Seaborn, limbs twitching.
Don't waste your breath on it.
Oh, Warren.
I'm here. I'm right here. Seems like our positions are reversed now, Amaya. Too bad for you. I've never been one for science experiments. Not in the slightest.
The Seaborn quivers with torn muscles.
Go ahead and die, you inferior evolution-crazed creature. And be forgotten. That should settle things. No. Seaborn, even more Seaborn are nearby. They're approaching. And this ship's about to go down. Even when my consciousness was hazy, I was still aware of how much effort it took for us to get here. Seems like we'll be running up against another wall. Did you get what you came for, Swordfish? Ulpianus took it. It's our fault that we failed to preserve the prototype technology of the ship, but that doesn't mean we came here in vain.
Captain? It doesn't matter. Garcia already said that today is the last day of our voyage. For a long, long time, our will to survive has been slowly eaten away. At first, our greatest enemies were anxiety, suspicion, uncertainty, and fear. But later, our emotions started drifting away from us. A longing for the ocean gnawed at our nerves, and one after another one, we forgot the glory of being a crew member of the Stultifera Navis. I watched them jump into the sea one by one, or I beheaded them before they could. I admit, that was a bit extreme. This long nightmare of survival has finally come to an end.
Seawater is pouring into the ship. This whole place is being eaten by the Nethersea brand.
Inquisitor, this technology here, these Originium boiler techniques, Will they be useful to the current Iberia?
Everything on the Stultifera is a precious national treasure. Ever since the profound silence, Iberia has had a large amount of islander technology that cannot be reproduced. And it's not just because we lost our fleet and our cities. Because of the judgment we passed on the Eager, we lost so much of our talent too. It was necessary. Even now I don't think that a soft-hearted strategy full of kindness could have combated the Church of the Deep. If today we are forced to lose Stultifera Navis, the Ship of Fools, then I think it would be a heavy blow, but it's something that was doomed to happen from the start.
Hogwash. The state religion's always been like this. Eagers. Take care of the Iberian. She can't swim back.
That I can promise you. The explosions are getting worse, the sides leaning. We need to go, Scotty. Cut off a bit of the rafters above you. Sorry, Irene. I know, but what about Alfonso? How far will the currents take us, or are we going to go around in circles? Isn't this place on top of their nest? Regardless, looks like we're going to have to swim back. What?
Go. Get the hell off my ship like I told you from the start. Just go. I'll stay here. This is my Iberia. And the captain goes down with the ship.
Alfonso slowly lowers himself into the throne. He closes his eyes. The warmth of the bright Iberian sun as it splashes at the angle across the deck. The aroma of winery. The melody of his hometown. A damp and empty room, freshly burgeoning petri dishes. The ocean's waves. The ocean he once knew, the warmth of Garcia's hand. Breogan's lonely countenance. Carmen's smile, his comrades' roars resonating through the sky. He opens his eyes and lets out a hearty laugh as everything is consumed by the flames. His laughter crosses through time until it reaches a small town of pomegranate flowers, where one can smell the sea upon the breeze, and mingles with the first cries of a newborn child. Alfonso, that is what the people call him. He lifts his old rusty blade and places it against his neck. He prays, he laughs.
What a joke. Remember this well, Irene. Return to land and sing the praise of Alfonso's feats. The last monster that Alfonso slew was himself. The ship breaks apart. The glow of the flames blankets a sea that had been silent for nearly 100 years. An era comes to an end. A legend passes into history. In the distance, the sun rises. Here sinks the Stultifera, and with it the long-cherished wishes of Iberia, nay, of all civilization, all succumbing to calamity.
What's the matter?
I think I heard a voice. No, it must be my old age. These things happen.
Lord Carmen, you're crying?
Water? Right. The Stultifera sank.
I'm in the ocean. The ocean is a dangerous place. It's Dangerous, yes. I have to return to Iberia. Stop trying to breathe like that. Underwater breathing is beyond you. Most eagers can't either. I want to say something in return, but of course I am underwater and cannot. Despite trying to contain my instincts, I can't help but clutch at her clothes like a helpless child. But I can see it. The light reflected in her pupils. It comes from the bottom of the sea. Spectre does not say anything, but I can feel her arms trembling slightly around me. Maybe because of the battle we just fought? Maybe? Or something to do with the light? I'll bring you back up. Hang on tight. My vision blurs. So that's what the bottom of the ocean looks like? Then, is this eager?
The Seaborn quietly watches the distant flames disappearing beneath the waters. The ship sinks into the ocean, along with the flames, along with everything. Its kin answer its call. They all return to the many. Surrounded by the many's embrace, it takes only a moment for dying to be given new life.
Isharmla, I will bring you all back home.
Let's all die together with Alfonso.
The chief mate grips the Seaborn in its jaw and charges all the way into the seabed's murky darkness. Its lover, its memories, its identity. As the charge slows, its consciousness dissolves into the ocean, but still it bites down on the Seaborn.
The waters make you nostalgic. Swim and you will awaken. Accept it, you are one of we many. We have long awaited you.
No. I am Garcia. I am Alfonso's.
Then why did you stop swimming? Your signal is just like mine. Your wounds have all healed. You are accepting who you are.
No.
Why no?
The chief mate's consciousness is blurring. Is it biting down on the Seaborn, or is it leaping into the Seaborn's embrace, seeking its succor? It is forced to accept. The sea makes it very comfortable. The Seaborn's thoughts flood into its mind. Is it Garcia, chief mate of the Stultifera? No, it is a Seaborn. It is one of we many. Sounds of bubbles being blown, gurgling, and more sounds of bubbles popping.
You
will die a human being, Garcia. A step up from a Maya.
O pianus kin.
Thank you.
Ulpianus watches the two sink to the ocean, to the bottom of the ocean, seemingly locked in an embrace beyond death. Like flowers growing side by side, they shrink and wither, and beyond a certain depth, they are carried away by the undercurrent. He does not lift his head until they are completely out of sight. Why? Gladia, you must heed my warnings.
Wee. Yep, this was a round of scenes and stuff and the things and all the stuff. Anyway, this stage obviously goes into logs under the final battle section. Only one entry here, which is basically the recap. Carmen and kal'tsit, who arrive at the Eye of Iberia, see the hero who has fallen in battle. The Seaborn, having received an offering, spreads the silence once more with its song. The Stultifera sinks into the heat of battle, and a brand new expedition is crushed by the ocean. The extraordinarily ordinary Geordie manages to save the most lives of all, but no one comes to the rescue of Iberia in Eager. Anyway, we also get a picture here, which is... actually, we get two pictures, many pictures here. First off, cremation. He stands amidst flames, not as a protector, for such vulgar praise only tarnishes him. He is proclaiming the existence of mankind. Then we get silence. She gazes up at the graceful creature in front of him. He who descends from the starry sky. All the sounds in the world have been reduced to white noise. And final noise. The shattered steel giant rattles and roars. Thus the flagship sinks, taking an era along with it. Perhaps earlier, its final note would have been sounded by the people's sights. Oh, wait, pardon. Yeah, this one still also is part of this one. Says, beneath the abyss, the glowing city advances. That is their homeland. Stretch your fingertips an inch more, and you will be able to touch everything that has passed. They can only leave. And most importantly, we get their final song, which is obviously the song from the stage. Anyway, we continue here, let's see, onto the nameless ocean. Says, this part of the ocean may have had a name once, but that no longer matters. The premise for a name to be born is that something needs to be distinguished, but now the ocean is the ocean. Obviously, this gets a log entry. Under the next section, escaping the Stultifera. Again, only one log, same line that I just read. But we also get a backpack item, which is the ship in a bottle. It says here, nobody knows why a ship in a bottle was considered a souvenir, but the trend did indeed sweep through all of Iberia, and every child wanted their own Stultifera Navis in a bottle for their birthday. They would hold the bottle up and let sunlight filter through, sailing their imaginary ships through the sky toward the depths of the sea. But after the calamity, this trend quickly died down, and the scriptures soon occupied the spot on the nightstand once belonging to the ship in a bottle. It is not solely because of life's hardships. The ocean and the fleet became wounds that could never heal, each touch evoking feelings of disappointment, sorrow, and shame. The Grand Fleet had failed, and people paid little heed to the process. Perhaps only the people of a town like Gran Faro, which gathered those not yet disillusioned with the future, would regard this little ship in a bottle as a treasure. But in today's Gran Faro, would anyone? Alright, next one. Now, here is a funny thing. Once you click on this thing and click off it, like this, suddenly, if it lets me, thank you, suddenly the thing goes like zoop and shoots you to the right. So, we continue here at the Penal Battalion Supply Depot. Basically, just rewards. And I want to add this to the narration. I know it's going to break it up a bit, but I want to add this to the narration because of Lancet 2. There's a interesting line here. Not in this what you're looking at. Here it just says I couldn't perform my tasks while I was afloat, so the only thing I could do was compute something interesting. According to my calculations over these last 3 months, we'll get to the 3 months, the logic of space and time takes the form of the lovely Miss Closure. First off, before we go there, God damn it, Lancet. This one goes to returning to Gran Faro for first log entry. From this supply station, the soldiers stare at the Iberian soil now swallowed by the ocean. The Penal Battalion shows no weakness. The Penal Battalion shall not yield. The Penal Battalion is Iberia's bastion, and even the terrible waves do nothing more than wash away any impurities. And that is it for that. I want to quickly go in here because I want to read you one line that oops, because I want to read a line here. Not here, not here. Hold on. Here. I was reading that once you get it, because you get skins like they are literal character pose, but says here, Lancet 2 was unexpectedly shot down into the water while aiding eager refugees off the coast of Iberia, and remained afloat for 3 months until located and retrieved by a Rhode Island search and rescue team. Poor Lancet. Poor Lancet. Lancet didn't deserve that. My god. Why? Anyway, we continue with the final scene of the story, titled Gran Faro. Pack your bags and return to the starting point. The road ahead is still long. Over here. Hurry, grab my hand. A single, solitary boat. How far is it from the Eye of Iberia? How far is it from Gran Faro? Okay. Irene grabs onto his hand. There is no difference between the hand of an eager and that of a liberi. Sorry, I'm not very strong. It's fine. I was scared out of my wits when I saw the ship explode in the distance. Are you all okay? As long as we are fine, Irene. Adjust your breathing. You know how to swim, right? Luckily for us, the waters are pretty calm right now. Where are the others? I need to check on a few things. Just now, was that eager? This close to us. Has the Stultifera been circling above an eager city this entire time? We might have been able to find a way in to check out the city on our own, but you never would have made it. Plus, the squad captain didn't seem keen on just going home happily ever after, and no way would there be a city this close to land. I don't remember anything like that. So, are you going to head back to that city? No, Gladia said this place is also seaborne territory. The city must be a refugee village. What? The eager you people call islanders are refugees from the collapse of the cities closest to land. We should go help them. Two things. Ulpianos isn't dead, but he refuses to work with us. And there are still other seaborne nearby, drawn here by that spurt of evolution. The entire swarm is extremely restless. We can use this opportunity to get back down there, but we wouldn't be able to leave. So, we finally found a city from our homeland, and now we're just going to turn around and leave?
Gladia wordlessly glances at Skadi. She hides it well, just as she did herself in all those silent moments when she gently rubbed her neck.
We don't have a choice. Why? There shouldn't be a city here. We should head back to shore and regroup. Our duty is to defend Eager, not to go home. How did you manage this? Huh? Oh, are you talking to me? What do you mean? The ship is even more bare bones than ours was. And how did you find us? The sea is incredibly vast. I compared each of the signals from the Stultifera Navis to her location and discovered a pattern, so I thought it might be worth a shot. Worth a shot? What kind of deviation was there in that pattern? 200 to 300 nautical miles? That can't even be called a pattern. If you had bet wrong, you would have had slim to no chance of meeting up with us and died out at sea on your own. You're a lunatic. Yes. But I wanted to ask a question, so please don't laugh at me, ma'am. I can't laugh anymore. Am I a great person?
Your grandparents, your parents, 2 generations of Gran Faro gave everything they had for this blueprint. Their greatness should have been immortalized forever.
I wouldn't go that far. Maybe a lucky one.
Is that so?
Maestro and my other colleagues in the Inquisition always held this belief. Only those who sacrifice themselves are worthy of the word great. In every moment where we're fighting for Iberia and struggling to survive, we are nothing more than ordinary people, striding forward with enormous responsibilities. And it's not that Inquisitors enjoy belittling ourselves. We've simply chosen to deal with Iberia in the harshest way possible because the moment we let our guards down, we will be undone. But until then, as long as the will of man is enough to ignite this lantern, then I believe there isn't any difference between us. We're just like all those citizens struggling bitterly in their own ways. As long as we have goodwill to spare, they too are soldiers willing to lay down their lives for the restoration of their homeland. Just like the laborers of old Gran Faro. Jordi, luck won't be on your side forever. If you have a chance to contact the Inquisition again, what I mean is, if you want to work with us, you'll definitely have that opportunity. Well, I actually, just out of curiosity, I see you've brought back some of the Stultifera's timeless knowledge. Might you actually be... You managed to rescue 3 hunters in a single breath. As an Aegir, your actions might be worth a medal from the Council herself. Swimming back would have been very hard, and who knows what could have happened, what could happen right above their nest. I have no idea what compelled someone like you, born in Gran Faro, to go this far, but good job. On behalf of the Aegir and the Iberians. Then, let's head back home.
Welcome back, hunters. And Irene, of course.
The High Inquisitor, he...
How did you know? We've already sorted through his relics, including those of our comrades who died beneath this lighthouse. We won't be able to deal with them properly until the penal battalion arrives, though. Those lowly seafarers could not defeat High Inquisitor Dario, but in order to protect the Eye of Iberia, he chose to lay down his life to buy time. Inquisitors have no time to grieve, Irene. Dario had great expectations for you, and you must move forward.
Yes, sir.
However, his lantern remains intact, and I've placed it over there. Go now.
Yes, sir. Seems like the penal battalion ran into some trouble. So much for the great naval power of Iberia.
So, the Stultifera Navis has sunk. This isn't quite the outcome we were expecting either.
Indeed, even for us, this is a significant setback. But we learned quite a few things, and
You found an eager city. Kal'tsit has already shared her conjecture with me, so perhaps you will wish to hear it too. The Inquisition has already believed in maintaining control. From Salviento to the Stultifera, we will gradually recapture the glory that rightfully belongs to Iberia. But we are forced to admit that perhaps even preserving the status quo is enough to stretch our forces thin. Madam Consul, what did you witness aboard that ship?
This is his lantern, the High Inquisitor's lantern. Scorched black, thick with the stench of sea terrors. High Inquisitor. Maestro. I completed the Inquisition's mission. I found the Stultifera. Unfortunately, it ended up sinking. But aboard the ship, every single Iberian, in their own way, they were fighting until the very end. High Inquisitor, I now understand the significance of passing judgment. I understand the enemy we face. I will not hesitate, nor will I falter. For Iberia's prosperity, for Iberia's defense, and for Iberia's orderliness and integrity, I shall raise my sword and my light.
Alfonso, No, this can't be. 60 years. What torture is this? Even a criminal subjected to the harshest of punishments would not last for a year. But he... Carmen falls silent. He leans over and sits down on the reef. Sea terror carcasses are piled high into a mountain. There is no trace of the eldritch beasts, only the remaining tendrils of the Nethersea brand retreating back to sea. The ocean surface emits a pale blue light, usurping the sky's privilege. He should be enjoying this victory. He accomplished what the Inquisition set out to do. The penal battalion is about to arrive, and all things are about to reach satisfactory conclusion. But he can only remain silent. Up until a steam whistle roars in the distance, the penal battalion has arrived at the Eye of Iberia.
You can see the corner of the town from here. If I remember right, it was called Reconstruction Hill. Thiago didn't pass peacefully, and I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but... Still, thank you. Don't mention it. I don't mind dedicating a song to a hero at a solemn funeral. Seems like Frost is back. We'll head back to in a little bit. What about you, Iberian? You've had a rough few days, haven't you? Gran Faro is Thiago's hometown, just as Eager is home to all of you, as well as my Abyssal Hunter buddies. Maybe I joke around too much normally and forgot that Iberia is also my home. To be honest, this isn't cathartic at all. Wasn't that doctor going to help you out with something? You've been working for her, weren't you? No, that's already dealt with. That's why I'm willing to stay with Rhode Island. That said, I didn't do a damn thing. Hurry, hurry. Move the supplies into the warehouse. Huh? What about the number of tents? Didn't the old guy already explain it? Jordi, you're back? What, the Inquisition took you away and actually let you come back? Where did you go? A bunch of people from the penal battalion took us away, but then brought us back into town. Seems like they're going to war with something, and now they want us setting up tents. Jeez, what's going on? What's going to happen to Gran Faro? Oh, and have you seen Thiago?
Jordi Fontana Rosa.
Lord Carmen, sir, and Madam Inquisitor.
We'd like to have a private chat with this Eager.
Of course, right away. Me?
Come with me. Let's take a walk around town, shall we? Irene made up her mind on the way back.
Made up her mind? About what?
Originally, High Inquisitor Dario intended to entrust Irene to me, so that I could cultivate her until she was prepared for the seat of High Inquisitor. His death in battle was unexpected, though the day would have come sooner or later. He did not have to accept his fate so soon. But Irene has made up her mind. She will give up her position as Inquisitor.
Huh? Wait, what? Why? This is a decision I've come to after a lot of thought. It has nothing to do with you, though, so please just keep listening. Oh, okay.
The problem is you, Ager. You know too much. You're too deeply involved, and the Eager in this town are too blasphemous. You've also been of great help. As frail and weak as you are, your death would have been but another grain of sand. But you have shown great strength. Even if it's nothing more than your own little spark, it is still valuable.
I keep thinking, why am I still alive? I'm not as noble as any of you or as resolute.
Jordi, you will be the first Ager to join the Inquisition.
Huh? What? Me? Join the Inquisition?
Strictly speaking, I won't give you a chance to refuse. Gran Faro needs more hands than ever, and you will play a pivotal role as an Ager. After that, maybe I could use a young secretary.
Wait, hold on. Want me to join the Inquisition? But I'm not sure if I want... I know you don't. Many members of the Inquisition hold deeply rooted prejudice against the Eager, and wouldn't want you joining either. But don't you want to see it? The future that Iberia once promised to Gran Faro and to Thiago? Joining the Inquisition will be a test. As an Eager, you wouldn't be wrong to treat it as a trial by fire, or as practice for enduring hardship. Don't get the wrong idea. I'll give it some thought. Then, what about you, Don Irene? Your maestro? My status as an Inquisitor hasn't done me any favors in my relationship with the Abyssal Hunters, or even with Eager, so I got rid of it. But abandoning a faith that supported me to this day, especially after the untimely demise of my maestro, has not been an easy decision. Please, let's not talk about this now. Maybe if we meet again someday. I'm sorry. It's just...
Irene looks at the sculpture in the plaza, a scaled-down version of the Eye of Iberia. In the chaos of battle, streets were torn up, houses were destroyed, and makeshift tents were erected. And the statue has always looked out over all of it.
Even though our enemy is well beyond the reach of the law, Iberia must banish this blasphemy. Victory will be ours. I owe you my gratitude, Frost. You helped Jordi as well as the hunters. Say no more. It was just a little workout. Those disobedient little rascals aren't the only ones who can change the direction of the tides. Next time, make sure you come cheer for us, though. Sure. Alright, I'm gonna go catch up with Aya and the others then. Stepped out a second and they went and ghosted me.
Frost riffs with slight dissatisfaction.
Alright, kal'tsit. Since we came all this way, we can't just go back empty-handed. We can awaken whenever you're ready. Aya would say the same. Thank you very much. Maybe in time we really will be able to form a working partnership.
Frost riffs to signify her departure.
So, this is the truth that Breogan discovered. Faranmut and Leviathan. The connection between the two. If these massive creatures had disappeared from the ocean long ago, yet continued to survive on land in this form. They're not the same, Gladia. Raytheon, Sargon, Sami, these places have all faced grave situations caused by Faranmuts. But remember, the ocean as a catalyst of mutation is both unique and irreplaceable. Even I cannot comprehend its principles or its trajectory. All I can see are the results and make deductions from that, and what I predict is a terrible, terrible future. Also, I'd imagine Breogan discovered more than one truth, and as you said, if there is another Abyssal Hunter still alive, there is more than one Leviathan. The one we slew is but a small part of what the Aegir civilization concealed. Besides, the one you killed still lives on inside Skadi's body. Then my worst case scenario came true. You made the right choice not to return to Aegir. Rhode Island has already done enough for us. You have your own work ahead of you. As for what comes next, we will take that step ourselves. Rhode Island has its responsibilities. Our most stellar operators will ensure that the organization continues running. But I have my own responsibilities across these countless years. Time and again I have tried to resolve the problem facing Aegir, but it is far removed from the land, unique and without precedent. We can't wait any longer. The ocean's problem is of the same scale as Originium. If civilization is to continue, then we must overcome this calamity. Even as this world faces constant threats, divisions grow and wars ignite without cease, just as the name Stultifera Navis implies. Terra is certainly full of fools, both malicious and ignorant, but it is also full of saints who seek reason above madness and chaos. Now that you know the source of evolution, all our conjectures have verified. Aegir cities are within reach, and even arrogant Iberia has emerged from its shell. Chief Designer of Warfare, let us begin.
Meanwhile, out on sea, Rocinante shakes neck around in dissatisfaction. Calm down, Rocinante. Swings neck around more violently.
Rocinante.
Where are we going?
The terrible waves are coming. We will defeat them. We are the terrible waves.
The terrible waves. As long as there is water in the ocean, a moon in the heavens, and wind in the sky, the waves will not abate. The enemy you see in your madness is truly too majestic.
Go. Aya. I will not allow the sea another ripple. Go.
I absolutely love Mr. Arknights Don Quixote. That motherfucker is a character. Anyway, we get another log entry here. Again, in the Returning to Gran Faro section, second log entry. Recap, obviously, as everyone draws to an end, a useful truth is plucked from the wreckages of frustration. The truth is a building material, from which war will be constructed. We obviously also get a picture, the final picture here. It says, how did this youth accomplish all that? He's not even a warrior, merely an ordinary person. He recognizes this point crystal clear, yet still made that decision. And we get one more log entry that opens up once you click on the choose destination thing. Which should go into returning as well. Yep. Says here, the curtains fall on this story, and people go their separate ways. No matter who they are, no matter how much time passes, they will find themselves standing before crossroads, again and again, having to make a decision. So yeah, we are pretty much leaving it very open to another story, which I sure hope they continue. The only thing I can say is that I hope that for the next story, please, for the love of everything, have things somehow numerically numbered when and which thing appears when and how. Please. This has been a thing. But as I said at the beginning, we have more here, and this is gonna be the second section of this whole thing. So while I would love to give my thoughts to the story and everything, we are not completely done, and I will not do it at this part. I can just say the story alone by itself I have loved. It was amazing, had many amazing moments, and we are not done completely in many ways. First off, look at this mess. Look at this mess. Anyway, plus in the next 2 days in a row, expect the operator record for Irene to pop up on the channel, which is one of many epilogues to this story, and I am so happy I didn't read hers, especially hers, until I was fully done with the story myself, and you'll see why if you haven't seen that one already. Plus, Spectre Altars operator record will be a day after that on the channel. And then on the 17th, whenever the last section of whatever this whole thing is gonna be opens up, I will probably do another coverage and a narration for that final section of the story. But anyway, I will handle this whole bit here in a slightly different way, because this is a very big mess. But what we are getting out of this is very interesting bits of story regarding the journey of a certain someone. So let's go into the current last section that is here available, called Piecing Together the Scattered Atlas. So I will just read through this thing here. There is a lot, if you can see the bar at the side. There's both a story here and a story over in the picture section, which we are gonna go over. Just as a note, these big sections are essentially stories you unlock after you complete every of the EX stages. The small sections in between, there are a couple of ones that I'm just gonna skip over because they are just like filler text to, oh, you flipped over all of the sections of this part of the story, essentially. But I will, in between the sections, add, or rather go over and I will say it when they are, these little lines of text, which are essentially from the treasure chests that you pick up. So, just so you know, they are extra little fluff text. But let's begin to piece together a certain past. So, the first log entry. In the Atlas's preface, the author claims to be but a poor soul far from home, whose name is insignificant, to record the life of that he and his friends had experienced, and to keep their memories from drowning beneath the waves. He picked up the brush. Surprisingly, the Atlas seemed to be quite popular with children, their doodles often visible in its pages' margins. Perhaps the ones who grew up on land are using everything in their hands to tirelessly search for their nebulous homeland called Ager. For some reason, the pages in the Atlas are shuffled and scattered. The story will have to be slowly reassembled. And here is where the story actually begins. Breogan has convinced us that Ager has sunk into the quagmire of arrogance, Our cities are falling, our homes submerged in the abyss. But the consuls still believe in our imminent victory. No, we need to seek another path. We mustn't forget that though the ocean is vast, it is far from being the entire world. The land dwellers are weak and short-sighted, but the power of change may well dwell within them. They have been besieged by the calamity of Originium, yet have learned to harness its power. Breogan never promised that this place would have the answers Eager sought, but it is at least a new path. I still remember the moment we first set foot on land. The sand beneath my feet was no different from Eager, but that was the first time I really felt what it was like to be caressed by the wind. And then we have a little section here on one of the treasure chest scenes. Pardon. This is an EX stage. Pardon. Continuing the Atlas. The place we landed is called Iberia, the country that is as wildly arrogant as it is backwards. It seems that pride is the common illness of all humanity, be it on land or at sea. We arrived along with Iberian refugees fleeing disaster. The people on land have dubbed us islanders. However, everything on land was still a novelty to us, especially to Breogan, who never seemed anywhere near as excited when he was being called a genius back at the academy. There is never an idle day for him, as he leaves no stone unturned, no question unasked, and even quickly integrates with the locals. I really can't stand his complacent streak, what he's called the science of dealing with people. 2 days ago he heard something from an old man that caught his interest, and immediately decided to set off on a journey I have little hope for. We know too little about this land to make blind ventures. Alright, I guess I'll join his team after all. Hopefully we don't end up dead along the way. Then we have a little treasure chest section. Says, these days I will occasionally dream of dazzling golden domes of my human hometown. Continuing with the Atlas. How long has it been since we left the place? That place. 5 years, 6. We have crossed the cities of Victoria, gazed out across the plains of Casimir's, toured the Basilica of Laterano, and nearly perished in the snowfields of Ursus. Now we face Sargon's endless golden sands. Breogan is right, we are indeed approaching that truth. During our travel we briefly came into contact with several special beings, sometimes seen as prophets, messengers, or oracles. Yesterday Breogan officially met with one of them. They had extremely difficult to say name that they insisted we use. I hope I didn't mispronounce it. Breogan chatted with them for a good long while. Pharaohs, terrestrial creatures of mythic proportions and unparalleled power. Breogan is trying to come up with a hypothesis, but to be honest, I'm taking the wait-and-see approach. They do have some similarities with the terrible creatures we faced in the ocean, but they are also very different in other ways. I hope that hypothesis of his exists only to be falsified. Continuing with a small treasure section saying, I have never felt water in this form before, soft, cold, beautiful and deadly. Continuing with another little pickup section. These flames blaze more passionately than any I have felt before, perhaps because my partner in this conversation is that extraordinary. Continuing with the Atlas. We've returned to Iberia once more. Over a decade has passed and the country doesn't seem to have changed much, but the number of islanders has only increased. It seems the situation in Eager is looking bleak. I am starting to feel homesick, not knowing if my city still stands. Breogan has met a few friends in Iberia, a cleric named Carmen and a naval officer named Alfonso. They get together almost every day to discuss some, grand plans. He really is far too good at dealing with people, or perhaps I'm too much of a hermit who prefers the company of a paintbrush. Breogan told me that his predictions are getting better by the day, and that he's found a way to integrate Aegir technology with Originium, and simply needs an opportunity to put it into practice. For example, being appointed as Chief Naval Architect of Iberia. Continuing with a couple of sections of treasure chest text, I can feel the excitement in each and every one of us. We are about to face a cornerstone of the truth. Soil is the cradle of life. They say that when the spring wind blows, green shoots will sprout here. Continuing with the Atlas, Breogan is going to build a massive fleet for Iberia. Even a fool can see how ambitious their king is, but so be it. Perhaps Breogan spoke true, that we are but visitors on land, and our ultimate purpose is to aid Aegir. I went to see the flagship while it was under construction. From an Aegir's perspective, it was a pretty average job, but for a country on land, it is a ship unlike anything they've ever seen. Breogan and Alfonso named it the Stultifera Navis, the Ship of Fools. My guess is that even though the two of them have withstood the pressure and insisted on keeping the name, they might have wildly different interpretations of what it means. Breogan has been constantly frowning as of late, seemingly aware of something about to happen, or he could simply be worn out, as the king has also tasked him with building lighthouses and ports. Recently, he's become a darling of the Iberian media. Every paper heaps praise on him without a second thought, but I know his eyes are fixed on something greater. His judgment has always been correct, but I hope that remains the case. Continues, Breogan brought with him not only dreams of gold, but also a warning from the sea. Most people chose to ignore the latter. Those with power tend to overestimate their ability, even more so those with great power. Continuing with the Atlas, when did Breogan bring his little handy with him onto land? Actually, sorry, this is not the Atlas. This is the little handy, and yes, we have the final little handy piece with this section. When did Breogan bring his little handy with him onto land? If I knew earlier, I would have brought mine too. It always helps me get the colors I need. He even brought an external upgrade module for it. That thing's expensive as hell. Continuing with a couple of smaller sections, nobody can resist their own desires, especially when you understand when they are desiring. Where there is light, there is also a shadow. The brighter the light, the deeper the darkness. As a friend, Alfonso is absolutely qualified. As a captain, fine, there isn't anyone to compare him to anyway. Continuing with a Atlas section, all sounds have vanished. The tide is approaching. A terrible wave. It will swallow us all. Something must have happened to Aegir. I have to find Breogan. Continuing with a smaller section, once ambition germinates, it knows only how to proliferate. Even if it's clear, it will only lead to ruin. Do you hear the sound of the tides? It's as if someone is sobbing. Friends, we are all starting to get old. Yesterday, Breogan spent half the day complaining about his new wrinkles. I think it's because he frowns too much. And yeah, then we get the final entries into the into the whole story, beginning with Leviathan, Aegir, lost, abyssal hunters. This plan is our last hope. I've already looked everywhere. Where is Breogan hiding? He couldn't have died in the profound silence, but the situation for him now is likely more dangerous than it was then. That's right, he foresaw it long ago, but the countermeasures he prepared were taken as evidence that he was responsible for the calamity. He was branded an evil sorcerer who sacrificed Iberia to the waves. Even our identity as Aegir has become a mark of original sin, and the land dwellers accuse us of bringing disaster in our wake. I just saw an Aegir youth being beaten in a corner. The assailant was his Iberian neighbor, who he had always gotten along well with. Damn it, if I have to find Breogan again, no matter what happens to Aegir, we have to go back. And the final section in here is when you click on one of the notes to proceed to the next section. It says, the dusty picture book has been reassembled. But where is the ending? Where is the ending indeed? Now, we do get extra sections in here, so let me first go over the little handy, the final part. It says, external upgrade module manual. If your hand of salvation still isn't effective enough, or you still lack the power to purge all evil, we've provided you with the additional power of the external upgrade module. Just as heroes are reforged by tribulation, the little handy too will break the shackles of its past after attaching this component. Something doesn't seem right about the sound this machine is making. Are you sure it won't overheat and explode? And we get, with the Atlas stories that we were unlocking through this section, we also got a picture every time with its own little entry. It says here, picture book page, shore. Breogan and his friends stood on the shore and looked back, as the billowing wind continued to blow. Beneath which wave did Aegir City State hide? The next one is called Long Journey. Trekking through the wilderness was hardly a pleasant experience for an Aegir, but Breogan still remembers the moment he first climbed atop the high plateau and saw the radiance of the twin moons spilling across the land. And I love the two moons in the picture here in the back. Continuing with dialogue. What is a fair price for ancient forbidden knowledge? Perhaps a pure heart is enough. Throwing in fine wine as a bonus might be even better. The next one is titled Ordination. When everyone has their needs met, no one will take advantage of others. Breogan has always subscribed to this philosophy. Perhaps there is some science behind this form of exchange. Next one is titled Framework. Can this ship really make a difference? Even if there were doubts in his heart, Breogan could only continue down this path, for it was the one he had chosen. Next one, unfinished picture book page. Calamity has come. And that is for now the last things that unlocked for me, outside of obviously the song and stuff. But yeah, apparently we're gonna get one more section with story, and I don't know if anything else. But yes, I will cover it on the channel once this part unlocks. And if you're looking here, yes, this says 93% unlocked, but the only reason why it's 93% is because of these two treasure chests, because they require a specific thing to do on specific EX stages that I haven't done yet. So I'll probably clean this up later at some point. But yeah, this has been the entire story, and we have entire main story plus a backstory to Breogan. And I want to point out here, hold on, let me go back here. I find it kind of interesting how he is being portrayed in these pictures. It's mostly artistic interpretation, with him with a giant cloak essentially and covered his face. But in the few scenes where you see him from the front, I find it kind of funny. I don't believe it is, but I kind of find it funny that it very much resembles the Doctor, doesn't it? It's kind of funny how similar it is. So, kind of wonder. But yeah, this would be it for this part. Like I said, I wanted to voice my thoughts and everything on the story. In short, I can tell you I love the story. The only thing I don't really like about this whole bit is that boy, is it hard to track where anything is in order once you go through it. And that's probably the only bad part I have about it. In general, the characters were fine and great and fucking magnificent. Irene had a ton of character growth and development in this whole segment, especially towards the end. Dario was, I mean, I guess press F to respect, I guess. Oh my god, that guy. He really went out in a blaze of glory, right? The Saint Carmen was a cool little old dude. And Alfonso was just a badass. What can I say about Alfonso? That guy's just a badass from beginning to end. I mean, that guy resisted. The guy not just did resist to turn into to become a Seaborn, he almost completely resisted that transformation. Only part of his body transformed, while his first mate completely changed shape. Ulpianus, I guess, I don't really know what to think about him for now, considering the only parts of him are, except for giving exposure to stuff, is just he's pretty much, how would I describe him? He's pretty much a bullet. You fire him and he goes. And he does things. And he always kind of sounds angry, at least in my head. Might just be the facial expression, but whatever. But I must say, probably my favorite surprise of this entire story is Mr. The Last Knight, Mr. Don Quixote. I love that guy, and I hope if this story continues, and I hope it does, I hope he appears in the next story, because I want to see more of him. I want to see what he's up to. I want to see how his story ends. This goddamn motherfucker. He went from a human being to being slowly turned into a Seaborn, to resisting becoming a Seaborn, but becoming a Leviathan at the end. And once more, I want to say here, just clearly, like kal'tsit just said at the final bit there in the story, Farenmut and Leviathan is not the same thing. And if you want a better explanation what each one is, I guess the best way I could point you to is to look up on the wiki or something, because that has a bit more thorough explanation of what it is, but essentially they are not the same. Like literally not the same thing. They are similar, but not the same. And if the cryptic thing at the end there was a bit confusing about the band members, the band members are pieces of a Farenmut, essentially. And the giveaway to that is pretty much the very sentence that Frost says there at the end, being, "We are ready to awaken," which is a sentence that has been also used in the stories surrounding Nian and her siblings. Because when they awaken, they will stop being single entities, as they are now, and will rejoin with whatever body, whichever gargantuan entity they came from. So, I guess Rhode Island at this point has multiple of these beings ready to act when needed, even though Nian's group is, at least part of the group for now, is trying to be stay individuals, and this group is apparently not reluctant to be rejoined with its former form. So interesting. Wonder where all of that will lead to eventually, and if well, it probably will lead to. So far, the story had many check of gun moments where you present a gun in Act 1 and you fire it later in the story. But I guess this would be it. Like I said, over the next 2 days, expect to see the operator records for Irene and Spectre Alter, which are both essentially small little epilogues to the story once again. And I'm saying once again because in Spectre Original's case, her second operator record was also literally an epilogue to the Undertide story. So Spectre is doing literally the same thing again, delivering us a story that is another epilogue to another story she was part of. I guess that's her thing. But yeah, anyway, I need a break now. This has been a long recording session, as you can tell. So, I hope everybody enjoyed this. This has been a pretty dang good story. Many things have been learned about Aegir, about Iberia, the Abyssal Hunters, and the Seaborn. And time for the next story. So, as always, I hope you have a fantastic day wherever you are. And I will see you in whatever comes next on the channel. Until then, bye bye.